The greatest common factor is the highest number that divides exactly into two or more numbers. So for example, if we have the two numbers 12 and 18, 6 is the greatest common factor because 6 is the biggest number that goes into 12 and 18. 2 goes in, 3 goes in, but 6 is the biggest number that goes into those two numbers. So there's three main methods of finding the greatest common factor. I personally like the upside down birthday cake method. It's relatively new. What you do is you take the two numbers 12 and 18 and you think, what goes into both those numbers? Well, 2 goes in, they're both even. So you cut them in half and you get 6 and 9. And then you look at the 6 and the 9, and 9's not even, but 3 goes into both those numbers. So you divide both numbers by 3 and you get 2 and 3. Nothing goes into 2 and 3 except for 1, so evenly. So therefore, we can't go any further. So we circle these two numbers, 2 and 3, and you multiply them together and you get 6. 6 is the greatest common factor of 12 and 18. Okay, same two numbers, different problem. I'm going to use the factor tree. We're going to break these numbers down to their prime factorization. 12 is equal to 3 times 4. 3 is prime, 4 is not. Keep going. 4 is equal to 2 times 2. I could have also picked 6 and 2. 18 is 2 times 9, or I could have picked 3 and 6. And 2 is prime, but 9 is not, so 9 is equal to 3 times 3. Then you take these same numbers and you put them in the box. These are the only prime numbers. So 12 is equal to 2 times 2 times 3, and 18 is equal to 2 times 3 times 3. And you see I have a pair of 2's right here, and I'm going to circle them, and I have a pair of 3's in brown, circle them, and multiply 2 times 3 together, and once again get 6. Here are three examples using the upside down birthday cake method. Same thing that we just did, only in more detail. You can put this on pause and you can read my text here if you want, or see if you can follow along. 8 and 12 are even, cut them in half, I get 4 and 6. 4 and 6 are still even, cut them in half, get 2 and 3. Can't do anything with the 2 and the 3, so my greatest common factor is going to be the product of 2 and 2, which is 4. 48, 60, and 36 even, cut them in half. 24, 30, and 18 are my results. Cut those in half because they're all even. 12, 15, and 9. 3 goes into those numbers. If you forget your divisibility rules, you should go back and look at a video on that. You end up with 4, 5, and 3, and nothing goes into that evenly except for 1. So my greatest common factor is going to be the product of 2 times 2 times 3, 12. 8 and 9. What goes into 8 and 9? Well, nothing other than 1. So 1 is your greatest common factor, and that is all that you can do with that problem. All right, here's 6 problems. I'd like you to try them. Put this on pause, copy the problems down, do them, and once you're done, turn this back on and check my next slide because I have the solutions done out. All right, 20 and 32 even, cut in half. I get 10 and 16. They're even, cut in half. I get 5 and 8. So my greatest common factor is going to be 4. 30 and 36 are both even, cut them in half. I get 15 and 18. 3 goes into those numbers. Nothing goes into 5 and 6 other than 1. Multiply those two numbers together. I get 6. 6 is my greatest common factor. For 8 and 25, the only number that goes in is 1. 1 is the greatest number that goes into 8 and 25 evenly. For 7 and 21, I get 7. As it turns out, that 7 is also one of the numbers. One of the numbers will be your greatest common factor if the smaller number goes into the larger number. 3 is the biggest number that goes into 6, 12, and 15. And for 24, 36, and 48, I could have used 2, but I wanted to show you that you can pick a bigger number. I picked 4. 4 goes in, and you're left with 6, 9, and 12, and 3 goes into those numbers. And you're left with 2, 3, and 4, which nothing can go in other than 1. Multiply those two colors together, and you get 12. How did you do? All right, now we're going to use the factor tree, the prime factorization, and I've taken the number 8 and broken it down into prime numbers, 2 times 2 times 2. and 12 is 2 times 2 times 3. And I put those numbers in this box here. Once again, you can put this on pause and you can read my text if you would like. Here I've got my 2 red 2's and my 2 brown 2's. So my greatest common factor is 2 times 2, or 4. For 48, 60, and 36, I broke that down into its prime factorization. 48 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. 60 is 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. And 36 is 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. Once again, I'm going to circle all of my pairs that match. I have 3 2's and another set of 3 2's, and I have 3 3's. So 2 times 2 times 3, whoops, is going to equal 12. Greatest common factor is 12. For this problem here, 8 is equal to 2 times 2 times 2, and 9 is equal to 3 times 3. They have absolutely nothing in common. I can't circle anything. So the greatest common factor is 1. Once again, I want you to put this on pause, copy these problems down, and see how you do, and then check the next slide where I have my solutions. All right, 20 is going to equal 2 times 2 times 5. 32, again, this is the prime factorization. I think there's a video on this earlier if you need to check it out, if you've forgotten how to do it. But you break it down to prime numbers. 32 is 8 times 4, 8 is not prime, 4 times 2, 4 is not prime, until you get 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And let's see, I've got a pair of 2's here, and I got another pair of 2's. So I'm just going to circle both of them. And another no 5's, so the greatest common factor is going to be 4. For 30 and 36, 30 is 2 times 3 times 5, and 6 is 2 times 3 times 2 times 3. Let's see, there's a pair of 2's that are common, and a pair of 3's, no 5. I'm going to multiply my pairs, 2 times 3, and I'm going to get 6. 6 is the biggest number, and you can just look at this and you know. 6 goes into 30, and 6 goes into 36. For 8 and 25, 8 is 2 times 2 times 2, and 25 is 5 times 5. They have nothing in common, so the greatest common factor is 1. For 7, I didn't write 7 times 1 because 1 is not prime, and I just wanted to put down prime numbers. So 7 is just 7, and 21 is 3 and 7. I have a pair, and 7 is your greatest common factor. For 6, I get 2 and 3, and 12, I get 2 times 2 times 3, and 15, I get 3 times 5. Well, 3 is a common factor to all 3 numbers. 24, 36, and 48. Let's see. 24 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. 36 is 2 times 3 times 2 times 3. And 48 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. Well, what do I have in common? I have 2 2's. See if I can get them. So I have 2 sets of 2's and a set of 3. So if I multiply 2 times 2 times 3, I'm going to get 12. 12 is the biggest number that goes into 24, 36, and 48. Once again, how did you do? This workforce product was funded by a grant awarded by the United States Department of Labor's Employment and Training Administration. The product was created by the grantee and does not necessarily reflect the official position of the U.S. Department of Labor. The Department of Labor makes no guarantees, warranties, or assurances of any kind, express or implied, with respect to such information, including any information on link sites and including but not limited to accuracy of the information or its completeness, timeliness, usefulness, adequacy, continued availability, or ownership.